Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everything Arsenal, and this is the latest news updates. Now, before we get into that, obviously the season is now over for us. Everything has turned into trying to improve our squad for next season. And at the end of last campaign, I was thinking, very sad. We were so close to winning the title, and people didn't really expect us to ever compete for it again anytime soon. But we were confident. We went again this season. Last season, I felt very, very disappointed and sad. This season, I'm not sad. I'm kind of disappointed because we did so much good this, and I think we deserve to win the league. But right now, we are not in a position to feel sorry for ourselves. We have to go again. We have to go again. Buy more players. Correct any mistakes that we made last season, and let's go again next season. Let's go further in the cup competitions. Let's go further in the Champions League, and let's go 2 points further in the Premier League next season. So, what do we need to do that next season? A few things here and there, and Arteta believes the same thing I've said. We need to do it quickly, no feeling sorry for ourselves. Arteta said, let's not get comfortable, let's keep pushing. And this is the latest in terms of the transfers and what Arteta is planning for the summer transfer window. Now, this time it's different from last year. Last year there was no competitions after the season, like between June and August. This time there's a Copa America, there's a Euro, so in terms of signing some players, it might be difficult. You might have to wait for them to finish the competition before signing them. And we know that we've seen at Edu recently, they love doing completing signings very, very quickly. They don't like to wait around. By the end of June, they like to have gotten 2 or 3 of their signings done, ready for the preseason. And I really do like that. I hated when Arsenal used to, lose 2 games in the beginning of the season and then rush to buy a player. We did that so many times. I remember us losing to Aston Villa in the first game of the season, and then we went to buy players after that. Remember when he lost 8-2 to Man United? The next day we went and bought 5 players. There's another time we lost, I think, to West Ham, and then you went again to buy players the next day. That doesn't make sense. So I'm happy what you're trying to do the last couple of years. You buy players before even the preseason starts. You get ready. The players get used to the players who've been there for like 2 months, and then by the time the season starts, Rice is in the lineup, Havertz is in the lineup. That is what we need to do. So this is the latest news in terms of what Arteta is planning in terms of the deals, how quickly he's planning to do them. So Arsenal, according to Miguel Delaney, Arsenal already planning how to make leap to 90 plus points. Let's touch on that one first. Now, that is what we'll need to do. I feel like Man City are going to improve again next season to 92, 93 points, and we'll need to get the same as well. That is, this season we had 28 wins, and it wasn't enough. We picked up 89 points. I think it was 5 draws and 5 defeats. If you can't, this is a couple of things we need to do. Home games, don't lose any. So those losses against West Ham, Aston Villa, no. When Liverpool won the title in 2020, they didn't lose a game at home. You have to do that. You have to win basically all of your home games. And if you have to lose a couple of games, let them be away from home. So you have to make your home a fortress, and you have to, if you can't win a game, make sure you don't lose it. Pick up a draw. So Liverpool only lost, I think, 2 games or 1 game. I think they lost 1 game. There's a season they lost 1 game. Maybe another season they lost 2 games, and one of them they didn't even still win the title because of too many draws. And Man City won like 14 or something games at the end of the campaign that season. You'll need to be perfect, especially at home. And if you can't win a game, don't lose it. Make sure at least you pick up a draw. So Arsenal wants striker sorted. Arteta wants a striker sorted quickly. Isak main target. Now there's conflicting reports in terms of that. We know Isak is still a target, but there's still other sources that say we can't afford Isak, and our main target is Sesko. I guess by the start of the transfer window, you'll get a better picture of who we are really looking at. But Newcastle offering a new deal. So that's it. Newcastle are already offering Isak a new deal. Brobbey is a strong option, also a left back and central midfielder. So let's talk on Isak first. Now, again, last game of the season against Brentford, he scored once again. They've now qualified for the conference. If Man United don't win the Europa League, and Newcastle qualify for the conference, so they will be in Europe. Maybe if they're not in Europe, it improves our chance on getting him, but I don't think Newcastle would want to sell Isak. I really don't think Newcastle would want to sell Isak at all. But let's see what happens. We'll talk about Isak again in the next few minutes. Brobbey is another option that we are linked to. We'll also talk about him a bit later on. But the first point of this was, we are trying to get to that 90 points, and you're trying to get our deals done quickly. That is what we need to do. Get the deals done quickly. Don't get into battle with other teams for players. You might even if you start early, but let's go. Let's talk about who we want right away, and we go get them right away. Let's not be like, are we going to get this one? Let's wait for this one fast. Now let's go and get our deals done as quickly as we did with Rice and Havertz and Timber. Mikel Arteta has already long started work on plans for next season in order to complete what they hope is a title-winning team. Wants to bring in 3 first-team level players: a striker, a midfielder, and a left back. The left back one is an interesting one because personally, I feel like defensively we're okay. We conceded less than 30 goals. Our defenders very fit. They're always there. They're very durable. So they score goals. They contribute to attacking returns, and they have a very good connection. Gabriel White and Saliba, especially, they've been playing for a full couple of seasons together. That they really have a good connection. Now, left back is a position obviously people have argued that we can improve on. But we haven't really seen Timber there yet, like for a full season, because he's been injured. But now he's back. Tomiyasu always been injured. You've not really seen him in that left back for 10 games in a row. And Zinchenko, in terms of defensively, we know he's not the best. Attacking wise, he can do the job for you. People say they want him to play in midfield. I would agree. So left back is probably a position you can look at and say, okay, you can get a different player, and then you have different options on the bench as well. Maybe Timber rotating with Ben White, maybe Tomiyasu becoming a player we can use in every single position. If we need to rest Saliba, you can play Tomiyasu there. If we need to rest both White and Timber, play Tomiyasu there. Because also in terms of managing Tomiyasu's minutes to prevent injuries, that would be great. So people can argue that. So I can see why people have mentioned left back, because if you want to get better, I don't think there's too many positions we can get better. I don't think we can improve on Saliba right now. I don't think we can improve on Odegaard right now. I don't think we can improve on Gabriel right now. So the few positions are like striker, where you're like, yes, this guy's done a good job, but you can get someone else to give competition. Maybe left back's another position. And they're also mentioning striker. We already know about that one. And a midfielder. Midfielder, again, is an interesting one. That makes me think again, because Jorginho signed a new contract. What happens to Partey? We'll also talk about Partey in this particular video. So let's see what happens. I thought they would mention a winger, unless we are now going to convert like Jesus to a permanent winger and have Havertz and the new striker playing the number 9 role. That could also be interesting because Saka this season has missed a couple of games with injury. We've played him so much. People make a joke about him limping every game, but he's actually, I feel like he's played so many games, like to the point where he can't even play more than 60 minutes without, limping around, and they kick him like 5-6 times per game, and no one ever picks up a red card for it. So I do understand why, but we need someone to cover for him. And I also don't like Martinelli on the right side. So I prefer Jesus on that side. So let's see what happens with that. But at time, they do have already started the plans. They already planned, and they already know what they're going to do for the transfer window. That's another thing I really admire these two for. They usually have the plans ahead, and we usually go quickly, get the players we want. I remember we signed Vieira very quickly. I know it hasn't worked out, but we signed Vieira very quickly. Obviously, we signed Rice and Havertz very quickly as well. But let's start with the striker situation. Which strikers are we looking at now? We know about Benjamin Sesko, but according to Miguel Delaney, Arsenal are seeking to sign a prime striker before their preseason tour, with Newcastle's Alexander Isak and Ajax's Brian Brobbey top of the list. Another option on the list is Isak's Swedish compatriot Victor Gyökeres from Sporting. And obviously, on top of that, there's obviously Benjamin Sesko. Now, Isak is a player that I would definitely want to be top of my, from any other striker. I'd have Watkins first and Isak second. From the ones that are available, I don't even think Isak is available. I don't think Newcastle want to sell him. But if he becomes available, he'd be my top choice in terms of getting a strike. I think he's very, very good. Not only just waits in the box for crosses and all that, he creates chances for himself. If you look at his goals at Anfield and Stamford Bridge this season, his goal against Brentford in the last game of the season, some really good goals, some really different finishes. If you look at his goal against Tottenham when he sat down Van der Ven, I think twice in that game, really, really good goals. So Alexander Isak is a very top striker, 20 plus goals in the Premier League this season. I think it's very good. Now, let me just read this article before I come into this to those two other players. Arsenal are seeking to sign a prime striker. Yeah, I read that one. Let me read this other part. They did already consider purchasing a striker in January, with that long seen as final main piece. A move for Ivan Toney was considered then, but Brentford's 100 million price put Arsenal off. Like, if they're trying to sell Toney for 100 million even right now, I don't think too many teams are going to go for him. And he has since fallen way down the list of targets, so he's no longer, I don't think, even in our top 3 of targets. Isak has been the preferred option as previously reported by The Independent, but there's an awareness that Newcastle would likely refuse to sell. Now, back in January, we were a bit desperate. Like, we had missed so many chances against West Ham and Liverpool and all those guys, and we are even talking about Solanke, just get a striker who's going to score goals between now and the end of the season. But we improved on those numbers a lot. We started winning 6-0, 5-0. So we now have time to get a proper striker, and we have time to do it. The Saudi Arabian owned club are already hopeful that the Swedish striker will sign a new deal as they want to build a project around him. Can't blame him. He's a top striker, so I would expect them to want to keep him. Arsenal do not want to at least see if a deal is possible, but do not want to get drawn into a long saga. Arteta wants to get all business done early, so the squad is immediately ready to work on a campaign where they're aiming to hit over 90 points. The plans I've already seen in the market as reminiscent of Liverpool around 2018. I think that's the year that they signed like Alisson and Van Dijk and those guys. If Arsenal can't get Isak, Brobbey would be the next most likely option. The 22-year-old striker has been a revelation for Ajax this season, with 22 goals in 42 matches, bringing interest from a series of major clubs. Now, I first watched Brobbey, I think, in the Champions League in 2021-2022 season. He was not really a starter. He was coming off the bench. So I have not really kept an eye on him the last couple of seasons. But looking at his numbers, last season, 2022-23, he played 2 games in the league and he scored 13 goals. Those are really good numbers. And this particular season, he's played 30 games in the league, 18 goals, 8 assists. So 26 goal returns in 30 matches is pretty good. And over the last couple of seasons, in terms of matches and goals and assists, his numbers have been improving every single season. And I think this one has kind of become a regular, so his numbers are really good. He's only 22 years of age, but the question people will ask, will this striker take us to the next level? That is what you want. You want to go to the next level. We've not really, since Aubameyang, actually over the last 10 years in terms of signing strikers, world-class strikers, Lacazette was great when he came to Arsenal. But obviously, Aubameyang, I think, was better than him in terms of what he had done for Dortmund in the previous teams. I think Aubameyang is like, I don't think too many people wanted Lacazette at that time. I think over the last 10 years, the world-class striker we've signed is Aubameyang, and he came in and right away started scoring goals right away, and he picked up our top score like 2-3 seasons, got us to a European final all by himself, won us an FA Cup all by himself. Like, he was a world-class striker ever since his Dortmund days. But if you look at all our other purchases, Giroud, Giroud was before that. That was like 2012. But if you look at Jesus and Lacazette and a couple of others, I don't remember other strikers that we've signed, I don't think they've been like completely world-class. So we need world-class strikers. And I think players like Isak right now are closer to that. And I don't know Sesko and Gyökeres if they're anywhere closer to that yet, but we need someone to take us to the next level, someone who's going to come and score goals for us, because we create a lot of chances. There's a time last season we were complaining about a couple of seasons ago not creating enough chances. These days we create a lot of chances. Some games we get 25 plus shots. Odegaard has created like, I think, 100 chances this season. That is just absolutely crazy. There's chances created from Trossard, from Martinelli, from Saka, from Rice, from Ben White, from the corner kicks, free kicks. So we create a lot of chances. So if you have a striker who just wants to score, that would be great. But to be linked to Brobbey, if any more news on him comes up, we'll do more more research on him. But his numbers in the last couple of seasons have been great. But I can't lie to you, the last time I watched him like an actual Ajax match in the Champions League was like 2022. I've watched a couple of their league games, but I haven't really kept an eye on Brobbey because I wouldn't really have thought we'd be linked to him. But that's the latest in terms of the striker situation. We are looking at those ones. You already know you're looking at Sesko and Gyökeres as well. So let's see how that one develops. Now, another player we've been linked to, but I think it's gone quiet. Right now, Man City and Newcastle want him. I'm actually surprised. A winger, Pedro Neto. Now, Wolves will demand 60 million for Pedro Neto. This is according to Partey of the Telegraph. Man City and Newcastle want him. Arsenal wanted him, but I think that one has gone a bit quiet. That's a lot of money for someone who's always injured. I would not go anywhere near that. Now, if Neto was proper fit, let's say if he joined Man City right now and he became proper fit and played 35 out of the 38 games, we are in trouble again. Because if they have the option of Neto coming on for them off the bench and Doku coming off the bench, it's going to be trouble for the whole league. Because in terms of quality, it's very, very good. But For me, I'd be looking at other wingers. Depends on what our budget is for getting a winger. Since we've not been told that that is a priority in part of the top three, I don't think we'll be spending a lot of money. If we are just going into the transfer window saying we just need a winger, you have obviously can look at players like Liao and players like that, Kvaratskhelia and players like that, but you'll need to pay 100 million for them. So it depends what your priority is. Lastly, we've also been told that we want midfielders. So what happens to Thomas Partey? Now, this is the latest on Thomas Partey, according to Esther Collins. Thomas Partey only has 1 year left on his contract at Arsenal and is wanted by clubs in Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabian clubs still want him. And he's not going to get a new contract. So if you keep him next season, he's going to leave for free next season. My only worry is injuries with Partey. His quality is there. I know against the last game against Everton, they're not great in that midfield, but the other games you can see his quality. The way he picks up the ball from Ray and from Saliba and Gabriel, and then turns and then passes in between the lines to Odegaard and Rice and pushes us forward. And, he's a very solid player there, and he just completely allows Odegaard and Rice to go forward. Jorginho did a great job this season. He signed a new contract deservedly. But Partey, he's like next level. But obviously, it's past his 30s now, just like Jorginho. And the problem is Jorginho doesn't really get injured, and Partey gets injured a lot. So I don't know what's going to happen to Partey unless something comes like someone comes and gives us like 30 million, 40 million, then I think they will definitely consider it. But I don't think you're going to get anywhere near that. They're going to be saying like 15 million or something. If it's 15 million, I'd rather just keep him for next season and see how it does. But the problem is, I don't think right now he can take risks. In January, he was being linked with the move to Saudi Arabia, and I said, no, just keep him for the 4 months, even if he plays 8 games between now and the end of the season, 5 games between now and the end of the season, I'll be okay with it because he can make the difference at the end of the season against Bayern Munich and Man United and Tottenham, and he did. But I don't think you can go into next season carrying players and saying, okay, even if Partey is injured for 6 months, you're okay as long as he's available for 10 games. No. We need our players there. We need players we can depend on because Champions League, more games next season. We now know we have to get to 90 plus points to beat Man City. That is not easy. We need to do what we've just done this year and potentially go to Newcastle, not lose, potentially not go to Aston Villa and not lose. We might even have to beat Man City home and away. We were very close everywhere. We only lost by 1 goal to Bayern Munich. We only lost by 2 points to Man City. So we are very close. We need to close that gap. So I don't think we can be able to carry players. Ideally, I'd want Partey to stay, but we'd really be hoping that he stays fit. So it is a flip of a coin. I cannot tell if Partey is going to be here next season. I do not know what is going to happen to him at all. I don't know if they're going to sell him, if he's going to stay. Most of us want him to stay, but it's a flip of a coin. I don't know. Because Jorginho signed a new contract. We are being linked to a midfielder. Rice is there now. Could we go with all 4 of them in midfield together? Partey, Jorginho, a new midfielder, someone like a Zubimendi, and then Rice. That would be great having those different options. Even if Partey is injured, you still have those different options. But depends on the offer that we get. But he's being linked to Saudi Arabian clubs. Let's see how much they will be offering when the transfer window opens. So that's the latest in terms of Arsenal news. Big transfer window coming up. I cannot wait for it to open. I cannot wait to see which deals we get done quickly. The international competitions will probably affect them because someone like a Sesko is going to go play for his country at the Euros. So there's some other players going to be very difficult to get the deal done quickly. So you might have to wait until July unless they already have things planned to sign them before June 14th or go for players who are not at the Euros. I think Sweden are not at the Euros, I think. And so that can allow you to get players like Gyökeres and Isak. They're not in the Euros, right? I don't think Sweden are in the Euros. Am I crazy? I feel like they're not in the Euros. Let me just confirm that. I feel like they're not in the Euros. I don't think they are. I've looked at those groups many times. Let's see. I don't think Sweden qualified. If they didn't, then players like Isak and Gyökeres, you can get those deals done pretty quickly. Sweden. Yeah, no Sweden. So I was right. There's no Sweden at the Euros. So you need to get like those deals are easier to do if the players are not at the Euros. But let me know what you make about everything you've talked about today. Very interesting transfer window coming up. We've covered that wanting to get the deals done very quickly. Isak is still an option, but Newcastle will take a lot of time to sell him. It's going to be like the Rice one. And the Rice one, he still got it done pretty quickly, but it carried over for like 3 weeks, 1 month. Isak is going to be the same. If you want Isak, if Newcastle say, okay, how much do you have? Man City is going to come in, Liverpool is going to come in, and then you're going to have to, like, battle with them, and you don't want that. You want to strike players to come in immediately. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you make about all that. I'll catch up with you guys